we're still talking about having our voice. I want you to know and understand that every time you suppress your voice, every time you stop talking or you hold back on something that needs to be said, you're killing a little bit of you. Having a voice is not about being argumentative. Remember, I told you that this series about being victoriously outspoken. Anybody can be outspoken, but your goal is to be victorious in it, right? So, anytime you don't say something and you don't speak back, you are allowing whatever word, whatever was spoken over you to have dominion and to have authority in that moment. That's why it's important. I don't know where, and I know I said it in another video, but the more I think about it, the more I think about in my generation, the fact that we've had to fight. Many of us are fighting to pull down some of the thoughts and some of the ideas that we grew up with. Like I told you in my first video, I was so blessed that I had a voice. So as I was growing, I was able to use the tradition of the past along with my thoughts and to build and to take it to the next level. Not everybody had that. And whenever you suppress your voice, you are killing bits and pieces of you. Because in holding your voice, generally, if you don't speak audibly, then you also will not speak nonverbal skills. In other words, your actions will still follow your silence. So you don't say anything, you don't speak against something, and most of the time you'll just follow or go along with the crowd. I can't tell you how many times I've had people say, well, it really didn't hurt me to do it. But it did if it went against what you really thought and how you really felt. So you kind of killed and you made a part of you die. In other words, you said, okay, I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to say anything. And not only am I not going to say anything, I'm going to go along. And it's really not going to hurt me, but it does. Because there are a lot of things that we do, a lot of things that happen. And I did a video about decisions. A lot of things that we do have multiple and long-term impact. It's never just the right now. So when you don't say anything, the people that you're with, the person that you're building with, they have no clue that you went along to get along, that you agreed, and that you didn't agree, but you just did what they wanted in that moment. So circle back. Something else happens similar, another similar situation. They are expecting you to respond the same. Well, because you didn't say anything the first time, by the second time, once again, you're suppressing your voice. Every time you suppress your voice in a time when you need to speak, you are killing a little bit of you. And you can do that for so long, for so many years, that you don't even know who you are anymore. And that's a scary feeling, to wake up and to not understand or not know who you are and what you like and what, when you're going along and when you're actually speaking up. Not only is it scary, but it leaves so many people just hanging on. Think about all the people that you've gone along with, and they're like, where does this come from? Because they have no idea. Some of those people may be holding baggage or feeling bad because they feel like they made you do something, when really it wasn't them, it was your lack of speaking. When you suppress your voice, you're telling yourself, not others, but you are telling others, but you're telling yourself first, that my thoughts, my ideas mean nothing. And that's something that you're reinforcing every day, because silence will eat you from the inside out. It will take you into some dark places, and it will make you look at yourself differently. It will make you look at yourself in a negative manner. And so all it takes is anybody else to come along and plant into that garden, and that garden continues to grow and to grow. Do you know how hard it is to pull up the roots of negativity or the roots of something that you've done for years that's wrong? Ask anybody that ever tried to change. One of the things about in the Bible, I love when we look at Peter and we watch Peter's evolution. Peter is one that, Jesus found fishing, and whenever Peter was the one that he says, who do men say that I am? And Peter say, you are the son of the living God. You are Jesus Christ. And he said, upon this truth, I'm going to build. And Peter rose and he did some of the greatest things. He was the one that said, Master, if that is you, bid me to come to you on this water, on this treacherous sea. And then in the craziest time, Peter would go back. When everything happened, he found himself going backwards. He was like, look, when Jesus was crucified, he's like, I'm going fishing. I go fishing. I'm going back to what I know. So Peter had a lot of back and forth. That's the way some of us are. And it's nothing wrong with that. But because Peter did grow and he did take some steps and he did say some things, he did plant some seeds, he did have somewhere to build, he laid a foundation. So it was easy for God to pull him back. And on the day of Pentecost, who was it that preached and 3,000 souls were added? But he opened his mouth. He opened his mouth when he was right. He opened his mouth when he was wrong. But he opened his mouth. He was authentically himself. And in that, God was able to pull out and to use and to retrieve everything that he had deposited into Peter. In that same manner, whatever you think, I don't care how crazy it is sometimes. Sometimes you need to say things out loud so you can go, oh, wow. Okay, that's how that sounds. I tell people all the time, if you sneak up on me at the wrong time, you're going to hear me talking to myself. And you might be like, oh, girl, what are you doing? And honey, that's me and the Lord having a conversation. That's Kim talking to Kim. And you can say whatever you want to. I would rather get it out then because I know me. I will mess up. I have a big mouth. Having a voice means that you've got responsibility and accountability. So when I talk, sometimes I'll say things and they'll come out wrong. But since I have a voice and since I understand my voice, you'll find me a lot of times preparing for situations that I have yet to find myself in. If it is something I'm praying about, if it's something I think about that moment of confrontation or that moment when I will speak. And I practice for it. So when people say, oh my gosh, Kim, it comes like that, I understand that that's a gift, and I work at that gift, and I keep planting into that gift. I do not take it for granted because I do understand that, yes, as they say, it is a gift. And so I keep working it. When you have a voice, we all have a voice, but as you use this series to get your voice, as you start practicing and thinking about what you want to say, you're speaking to yourself, because all of the years of suppressing your voice, you've lost you. So you've got to start being the first one to speak back into you, to bring yourself back to life. We are still finding our voice, and I need you to know that your voice matters. Your thoughts matter. God gave you a whole different set of way of seeing things. He gave you vision. He gave you ideas, and he did that uniquely for you. Bye-bye.